stubbornly wanting to have my own way, and you know, I wanted a secure job for him and security for our family, and that definitely didn't mean that we would be in full-time ministry. But God gifted Clint with the gift of teaching, and the Bible College had asked him to come teach on a couple of occasions for teachers that were sick or couldn't be there, and he just loved it. It was wonderful. And one day we were invited out to lunch, and the president of the Bible College offered Clint a job as a full-time instructor at the Bible College. And I didn't even know this was coming. It was, I think Clint knew, you know, but I don't know if you didn't tell me because you knew that I would never agree to go to lunch. Or what, but when they offered him the job, I just sat there with my mouth open, like, what, I couldn't even believe that they had offered him this job, and so, you know, in my mind I'm thinking, yeah, right, you know, you're going to take a job with no pay, and, you know, no benefits, what, you know, why would you ever consider that, you know, so, the whole way home, it was just complete silence. I didn't say a word, and I finally got home. I said, can you believe that they actually offered you a job? And he was like, well, you know, just wait, because I'm considering that. And I yelled at him for the next couple of weeks about how ridiculous he was being. And Clint calmly asked me, he said, you know, would you just pray about it? And I was like, okay, you know, so I just prayed, you know, God, please just put some sense into my husband's head, because he doesn't know what he's thinking.
That prayer has not been answered.
God didn't answer that prayer. And Clint was praying too, you know, and God eventually just really began to convict me. And I was just miserable, you know, when God convicts you of something, you're just miserable. And, you know, so then I stopped praying. I didn't want to spend any time with the Lord because I knew that it would just get worse. And I knew everybody else was praying for us too, you know, and eventually I was like, okay, you know, I said, Lord, if this is really what you want, you've got to really make it clear to me, and you know, convince my heart too, because I just can't believe this, you know, I can't believe that you would ask us to do this. And I think part of it was because I felt like, you know, Clint and I both come from backgrounds where, you know, why in the world would the Lord want us to work with youth when we screwed up so much, you know, when we were teenagers?
Mostly Anna.
And so it was just hard for me to realize that God would want us to be in ministry, because I felt so unworthy and to do that. And you know, has God ever given you that sense that you need to get on your knees and pray about something? Like, you know, you'll be doing something else, cleaning the house, or, you know, working on your car, and then you just really feel like, wow, I need to go pray. God wants me to pray about something, you know, and so you stop what you're doing and you go pray. Well, that happened to me. I was cooking dinner one night, and I just had that sense that God was wanting me to pray, and I went into my room and I closed the door, and it's just one of those moments. I just collapsed to the floor on my knees, and I don't think I could have stood up if I wanted to. I just felt God's presence fill the room. You know, my head went to the floor, and I was just like, you know, Lord, what are you asking me to do? You know, what do you want me to pray about? And it was very clear to my spirit that he was saying, you know, daughter, are you going to follow your husband and be supportive of him and what I've called him to do? And it was it was amazing. It was an amazing just an amazing sense of that God was actually, talking to me that way. And it was a relief. I was relieved because I was like, okay, you got my attention. I understand, and I felt a peace about it, and I was like, yes, Lord, yes, I will do that. If that's what you want us to do, then yes, I will do that. And my heart was just filled with peace that He was gonna provide for everything. I didn't have to worry about all that health insurance and benefits and all that stuff that He was just gonna provide, because that's what He was calling us to do. And and then Clint came home that day, and I'm just like full of joy and just so excited that God's given me this confirmation in my heart. And he comes and I run to the door and I'm like, guess what? And I'm telling him what happened and all this stuff, and he he was just like, whoa, wait a minute, well, what are we going to do about health insurance? So he just, at that point kind of felt, we kind of switched roles and was feeling a little scared. But, we prayed together about everything, and God just kind of gave us this sense of peace and just a sense of peace that we needed to just take steps and not necessarily rush into anything, but just to, take steps into what He called us to do. And little by little, things started to come together for this transition into full-time ministry. Clint worked part-time at IBC and part-time at Blacklight, and then once we were able to raise enough financial support, he quit his job at the block plant, and we haven't looked back since. It's just been, just amazing, and such a wonderful life and a wonderful job, and He's blessed us in so many ways. And Hebrews 11:1 says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And God grows each one of us a little bit differently at different times in our life, and faith is definitely something that He's working on for me. And it's always uncomfortable, it's always such, He teaches us, gives us these lessons, and they're always so uncomfortable to go through. But you look back and you're just amazed at how God's worked things out for the best, and in ways that you would have never imagined. And I just learned little by little as He removes control, my control that I think I have, and then He replaces those areas of control with trust. And He's just seen us through some of the most difficult situations. And we didn't know what was always going to happen in those situations, and we feared the worst. But He's always done things for our good. And I mentioned that one of the hardest things we had to do was leave this house out here. It was such a blessing to be out here in the quiet and the fresh air and the clear sky and no gunshot sounds. And those of you that live in Sunnyside know what I'm talking about. But we were content in Sunnyside. We were happy there. We were doing great. The kids had friends there, and it wasn't a huge place, but it was cozy, and we were happy, and it was great. But God had other plans. And last summer, the renters that were out here in this house moved out, and Clint's mom and dad began to get this house ready to sell. And when we first heard about it, we really didn't think a lot about it. It wasn't like, ooh, maybe we could buy that place.